welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness. Well, hopefully 1 hour. Hopefully the sound is working and everything is okay. So please let me know if everything is okay, if the sound is working, because I seem to be having issue after issue with the internet. It's driving me absolutely crazy. Good, sounds good for you. A wee bit crackly. Thank you for subscribing, Gareth. Let me say hello to people in chat. We've got my Scorplers in there, we've got Bull GMs there, Gareth, Star Wars man, and he's now the 40k man as well. We got Stuart's in chat, Michelle, hello Michelle, and we have Tal. Awesome to see you all. Now, like I say, I have been away for a while, plus the internet has been letting me down with my streams, so please forgive me for that. There's nothing I can do about the internet. We have, where we live in Scotland, has always been bad for the actual connection problems. Anyway, today we're going to make a start on the Hill Troll. This is this was sculpted by Jason Weeby. And it's the metal version. This actual metal troll is going to Gareth, the Star Wars / 40k man. It's one of his giants for his pledge, and the reason why he's getting this one, because he has been very, very kind to me lately. So he's getting a full-on metal giant for his collection. Okay, so I'm going to get some paint on the palette. Hello B&L Minis. Oh, the internet can be an absolute nightmare. Can be an absolute nightmare. Now, first of all, we're going for some warrior flesh. So I'm going to get some flesh tones on this giant first. It's an absolutely beautiful old school giant. One of my favourites. We've got some fair skin as well. We get all the skin tones done first, and then we can work over the actual miniature with the darker colours. So I'm just using a number 2 brush by Reaper, and we'll start with the warrior flesh, and we'll just go over all the white areas. It's been primed with dragon white, so we're just going over all the flesh areas now with the darker flesh tone. I'm not worried about going over any of the details like the eyes and the mouth, nose, and the chin there. It's just a nice fast paint. It's a beautiful miniature. Absolutely adore metal, as you all know. So we can just fly around here. What I'm finding with all the miniatures now, doesn't matter which company, they are getting larger and larger with the sizes of the miniatures. Like I say, when they all first started coming out, it was true 28mm. Reaper miniatures have always been known for, thank you for the cheer, Reaper miniatures have always been known for the heroic scale, which is 28mm heroic scale, which normally works out about 32mm. But they're getting even larger now. I'll give you a prime example. This is the original metal giants, and now these are the Bones 5 giants. I mean, when you see the size of these giants now, they are getting absolutely huge. Nothing wrong, the detail is fantastic, but I do think I do think, in my own personal opinion, that the miniatures are all starting to be overscaled, which is making them a little bit too large, in my opinion, for my tabletop games. I do prefer a little bit smaller scale. Yes, Stuart, it's a huge difference. I mean, there's nothing wrong at all. The miniatures are absolutely beautiful, but what I'm trying to say is the scale is getting larger and larger. I'll give you another example. We've got the new cart that has just been released. This is your little cart there. I mean, when you see the scale of C4 scale next to the cart, it's absolutely huge compared to the miniature. So the scale, what I'm trying to say is that the scale of the miniatures are starting to look a bit wrong on the tabletop compared to the older miniatures. So you have to be careful when you order your miniatures to try and check your scales. Now, Reaper Miniatures on the website, you'll find they've got a little box, a little measuring scale on their website, so you can judge roughly how big your miniature is going to be when you purchase your miniatures. But they are definitely getting larger and larger. Personally, metal for me all the way. Absolutely adore metal. But that's just me being an old school and an old git, I think. Any opinion on best value for money box set of miniatures to start off a new D&D player? Things that come up often in the earlier newer campaigns books, maybe. Well, to be honest, you Mr. K slash what your best bet is to actually back one of the Reaper Miniatures Kickstarters, because you're getting a fantastic deal for a whole set, a whole core set of miniatures. Of course, Reaper do lovely miniatures on their website, but you are better for quality, for price, should I say, backing one of the Kickstarters. And Reaper really do a very good value for money box for their Kickstarters. So if you haven't backed Reaper Miniatures Kickstarter, you still can, because what will happen is Reaper Miniatures will open a pledge manager, and you can actually back the Kickstarter as a late backer, so you'll still get all the miniatures from Reaper Miniatures as a late backer. So I would recommend you take a little look at Reaper Miniatures, follow the link to the Kickstarter, and you'll find that you will be able to become a late backer to these late backer to one of the Kickstarters. But there's many different types of miniatures. I mean, it's not just yes, it is. The pledge manager is coming live soon enough, and it's not just miniatures. Of course, miniatures from Reaper. You can get loads of different companies do fantastic miniatures. Anor Miniatures, they do fantastic miniatures. They're based in France. An absolutely fantastic guy. Of course, they're more specialized miniatures, normally in resin or metal. I will say WizKids Miniatures, but I would definitely go for Reaper before you try out the WizKids miniatures, because of the quality of the miniatures are much better than WizKids. And I don't like to say that because I do paint a lot of WizKids miniatures, but I don't like lying to anybody, and I will tell the truth about the miniatures, how I see them and how they play out. And as a painter, you have to find what's best for you. I hope I didn't say that for you now, Minis. Oh my god. That's it. Break the Goblin King before he's even started. Oh my goodness. Oh, I want to repeat myself. I'm not going to, because I might have been saying it as well. Hello, Luck God 84. Oh dear me. Okay, let's see if I can speed up a little bit more. Oh dear. Anyway, there are lots and lots of different companies now. It's not just the different companies you can actually get the miniatures from. I mention 3D printing, because resin printing is becoming very, very affordable now, and it is really starting to take over the market for miniatures. And also you can actually follow loads and loads of different patrons that actually do all these 3D prints, and you pay a monthly fee to a Patreon, and you normally get lots of different miniatures each month to print on your printer, and that works out very good value for money, as well as and some of these people that do the 3D printing, especially for resin printers, they are absolutely fantastic. The miniatures are really phenomenal. Oh, thank you for the raid, Reaper Miniatures. Welcome, welcome. I am painting a hill troll today. This is by Jason Ruby. This is the metal version. Absolutely beautiful old school miniature. I'm just at the minute adding some warrior flesh skin tone. And we've just got some light flesh to add on top. Very, very simple, nice paint. Now, if you've joined from Reaper Miniatures, my painting is to a tabletop standard. So I know you've been watching all the pro painters doing absolutely fantastic work. I'm just here to try and give a little bit of inspiration, if possible. Thankfully, this week it looks like my sound is working. I've been having terrible issues with syncing and my sound on my Twitch channel. So, like I say, I do apologise for my last shows. Like I say, in Scotland, we don't seem to have the best of internet connections. My father, the Goblin Emperor, he got in touch with me today and said he can't watch the show tonight because his internet is down. So everybody's internet is absolutely mangled. Absolutely mangled. Hello, Kodiak 716. Thank you for following. Okay, so now I've got that first warrior flesh, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start mixing a tiny bit of the warrior flesh with the fair shadow, just for a tiny little highlight before we add an ink wash. And the ink wash is very simple. We just use the ink wash from Army Painter because it's absolutely fantastic to do a quick highlight. And all we're doing is quickly going around all the highest areas. This is just before we add that ink wash, because we shall carry on adding the flesh tones afterwards as well as. So just going to all the highest places, very fast and simple. And this will just help the ink wash. It will blend those two colours together when we add that ink wash onto the miniature as well as. Oh, I actually missed his hands, haven't I? His little hands holding the rock. So quickly on the highest places. What I'll do is I shall go back into the original warrior flesh and finish those hands. Otherwise it looks going to look like he's got white gloves on. Now the base is made with air drying clay. So all I've done is I've added air drying clay to the base, and then I've covered the air drying clay with little stones and pebbles, and I've just given that a coat of wood stained brown over the top just to begin the journey. just quickly paint these little hands as well. Yes, thank you for following. Very, very kind of you. Like I say, I only stream once a week for an hour. I am a very, very small streamer. I I suffer terrible with. I'm not the. I'm a bit nervous, so I don't stream very often. Live audiences are very scary for me, for most people, in fact. But I do get very nervous, so I do find it's easier to stream just once a week, and then that keeps my nerves a little bit more down. It's not easy as it looks doing Twitch streams, that is for sure. You either got the talent and you've got the nerves of steel. I mean, I can paint. I'm not very good in front of an audience, but I get in there. Thank you, Gareth. The Waffle Witch, hello Waffle Witch. No, what it was, this is my first stream back after 14 days, so I just thought I would do this giant. What it is it's coming up to July, so I need to crack on with all my patrons' miniatures. So what I'm finding is I have to paint hundreds of miniatures every month. Now this miniature here that I'm painting is for Gareth. It's one of his patron miniatures, so I thought I'd paint it on stream. So not only am I painting it on stream for you guys, it's also getting my work done. It's getting my work done. Now what's fantastic as well, I know all the Reaper crew are watching. Now Gareth, Gareth the Star Wars man, he's also the 40k man. Now I will mention him again. But what it is, Gareth is also an absolutely fantastic painter as well as. It's not a case of I'm just painting this for Gareth because he can't paint. Now Gareth can paint really well. I've had Gareth paint loads and loads of my Star Wars Legion miniatures. So what we do is we kind of paint each other's miniatures up for each other because that's what we do. So I mean, I got quite a few different friends of mine, and they paint miniatures for me as well. It's not a case of you know, I'm the best painter in the world. I love people's miniatures as well as, and I will buy miniatures from other miniature painters as well as, and that's what it's all about. It's great fun, and there's nothing better than receiving a painted miniature from someone else, because I paint all these miniatures, but it's wonderful when someone else paints you a miniature. It's just lovely when it comes through the letterbox. It's like, why? Give me the minis. Okay, so that's basically just this skin on there. Now what we'll do, we'll let that dry for a little bit, and we'll start actually adding the browns. So we give our brush a good wash. Thank you, Nath. Yeah, and again, Nath in chat. I mean, many of the people in chat, they are patrons that I send miniatures to, and yet, I would say at least over 50% of the minis I send away to my patrons, they are just as good at painting as I am, and yet they still want my miniatures, and that's really fantastic, because as over the years, if you are following me in painting, you're going to get better. There's no doubt about it. That's the way of painting. Hello, Mokai. Hello, Mr. Fish. How's Mr. Fish? Been a while? What are you up to? And Mokai, I haven't seen you in Conan for a few days. What's going on? Now, I'm going back to the Woodstained Brown. This is my favourite brown ever from Reaper. Now, I always love this brown because it's a really great base colour to work from. Now, what we're going to do is I'm just going to paint in all the fur areas. I'm using the number 2 brush by Reaper Pro Paints. So, absolutely beautiful little brush that gets the job done. What I find with the Reaper paints as well, they're just the right consistency. And I like Vallejo paint, but what I find with Vallejo paint is I'm always adding water to them. They always seem to be a little over thick. So I always have to use a little dropper bottle, add a couple of drops of water, just to thin them down a little bit to help them flow over the miniature. What I find with the Reaper paints, they are absolutely fantastic straight from the bottle, and that's what I love about the MSP paints. They just flow over the mini lovely. They're really, really nice. What I do with the Vallejo paints, I actually prefer painting with the airbrush paints. When I paint with Vallejo, I actually prefer the airbrush paints to use to paint, because they're thinner. It actually works out better to paint with. That's no worries, Mokai, we'll just burn your base down. We shall destroy your base. Thank you, Gareth. Like I do try to help as many people as I can who want to get into the hobby or start a business or start Twitch. The trouble now is there's so many of us doing it. But I do try my best to help, and what I'm finding is because there's so many people, I can't support and help everybody. I'd like to, but it's just not feasible. It doesn't work. There's just absolutely hundreds of people doing it now. Well, Naif, you are coming on in leaps and bounds. The amount of 40k miniatures you've been painting in the last month or so is ridiculous. That's the key to miniature painting there as well, is knowing when to stop collecting, stop buying all the miniatures. I've had to really put a hold on my buying this year. Most of you know why, but I'm not going to talk about it on chat. But because of money and the way the world is, I've just got a room full of unpainted miniatures. Sorry, and of course, I know I'm never going to get them all painted. And yet I can't seem to stop buying the Kickstarters or buying the miniatures, and that's something I really need to put a hold on, because there's no point buying thousands of miniatures if they're never going to get painted. I do this as a business, so I actually paint hundreds of miniatures all the time, every month. But even then, I know I'll never paint all the miniatures. And yet I still keep buying them, and I need to knock that on the head and try to not be such a mini addict. Gareth, that is the answer of someone in denial. I can stop anytime I want, just choose not to, mostly. I ain't got a problem. Okay, okay, look, that slipped in the basket, my lovely. That was pure accident. Thank you for subscribing, Painterly Git. Lovely to see you. Oh dear. Yeah, what it was, I saw on eBay, they're selling the, you know, Games Workshop have done that box set. They've done the box set for the Battle of Pelennor Fields. It sells for about £80 odd, brand new. Well, I bought one a couple of years back. Anyway, someone on eBay was selling a brand new box set for £60, and I snapped it up for £60 because it's like 30 odd pounds cheaper. And of course, it came and my partner said, "You've already got one of those box sets. Why do you need two for?" So, and this is the problem. This is the problem. COVID, right, messed up everything. Because my partner works from home now, I can't sneak my damn miniatures in the house anymore. I can't do it anymore. It's not fair. I mean, when she's at work, I'd have packages that come in every day. No, it is very difficult when you've got a miniature problem. And you've got a miniature problem, it is very hard to stop buying all the miniatures, and sometimes you really do need to step back, have a look at all your collection, and really consider where you want to go. It's very important to try and pick the hobby and which one you want to stick with, and once you've found what you like the most, like I paint the Reaper miniatures, but I also paint Lord of the Rings miniatures. Now I also have lots and lots of the 40k miniatures, but I need to stick with painting the Reaper miniatures, WizKids miniatures of course, and the Lord of the Rings miniatures, and they are my top 3 things to paint. So that's what I kind of stick with. Anything else is really not needed, because I just haven't got the time. Not that I don't want to, but I just don't have the time. Of course you did, Tao. I think anybody who's a miniature painter, I don't think there's one of you guys or girls out there can say we haven't got a problem when it comes down to buying miniatures, because we want all the miniatures. It's simple as that. It's not a problem unless you are absolutely skint and you haven't paid the mortgage, but you've bought yourself a set of minis. All of them. Yes, well, I know most of the goblins in the goblin army, including Roy, who's in chat there. We all love miniatures so much. We all do. I mean, it's just part of the hobby. And the thing of it is, it's not helping with all the 3D printed miniatures as well, because I got a 3D printer, of course, resin printer, and there's absolutely hundreds of people making the absolutely adorable 3D printed minis now, of course. And some of these 3D printed resin miniatures are the detail on them is phenomenal. It's just incredible what people can design now. Thank you for subscribing, Nath. Okay, so we've got most of the brown on here. We're just working our way around. I think what we'll do is we shall actually add some to this wood here, because I'm going to dry brush over this anyway, so let's just get some. Now this little club he's got here, it's got some little spikes on it, so we're going to be going over all those spikes with metal, but we want to try and dry brush. Thank you for subscribing. I can't pronounce that. I'm going to say rogue. Rogue. Thank you, Mokai, for the gift subs. Very kind of you. Okay. She definitely doesn't want us to burn her house down in Conan, does she? I've just realised I missed a little bit on his chest here. So we just go back to that main warrior flesh. It's just on the chest here. So we just fill that in a little bit here. Thank you for the cheer, Gareth. Now this hill giant, he's got a little hairy tummy, hairy chest, hairy armpits. So what we're going to do now is we shall carry on with the bags. We'll go on to a different brown. Like I say, it's a simple little paint, this miniature, but it's very, very enjoyable. I think if anybody actually bought this miniature and had a blast painting it, you'll find you're going to have a real good time. I'm going to use some Brinewind brown now. And we're going to actually add some shield brown. We're going to actually add a few different colours. Thank you for the cheer, Bold GM. Mr. Bold GM, I don't know if you got my message, but I had your parcel come from Australia. I'm going to send it on to you in July with your miniatures, if that's okay. One thing I do love about my painting, my painting is all dark colours and browns. I know I keep repeating myself all the time on each show, but I do love working with browns and dark colours. I just find it works better for me. No problem, no problems, Bull GM. Okay, just going into the Brinewind colour now. This works out well for the inside of the fur. So, you know, on the inside of the fur you get the skin of the fur. This actually works out to be a very nice contrast with the other brown on the outside of the fur. so it works well inside. So we can just zoom around here. And some skeleton bone on that skeleton later on. But absolutely beautiful miniature. I think Gareth, the Star Wars man, is going to be very happy with this mini. Now, if you are into miniature painting, both Gareth and the Bold GM in chat and Painterly Git, they all do Twitch shows with miniature painting, and all three of them are absolutely fantastic, lovely human beings. So I don't know if you can. I don't think there's a link to their channels, but if you follow them as a friend, you should it should take you to their channels. Vortex Mixer, the best thing I ever bought for miniature painting. Absolutely amazing thing. That's it, just click on their names and you get teleported. Okay, let's get this little bag done. We've got some Minotaur hide, all the different browns coming out today from Reaper. Now, of course, you can make any brown colour you want just by adding some white or some black to the browns to make them lighter or darker. But Reaper have totally spoilt us with all these different paints, so we can just go over and pick a paint that we prefer instead of mixing the colours. But I do like mixing my colours as well. So I'm just using a number 2 brush for all my work on this miniature so far. I don't need anything smaller. You can get everything done to a nice neat standard just by using a number 2 brush. Of course, when we do the eyes and the different areas, we'll go smaller, but until then we're doing okay with this size brush for sure. Now it looks like he's got some kind of like reptilian armor on one leg, so I think we'll go with the Highland moss on this part here, just there. It's got like it looks like a hide of some kind, so I think we'll go for a green on that piece there. But so we need to finish off this brown first, so shall we go into it's a little bit smaller It's a little bit smaller than the monster brush from my army painter. Let's talk a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons. This weekend, we are back playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I think we're playing on Saturday night at 9 o'clock UK time for all the people that play in the Dungeons and Dragons game with us, apart from Tao. I think Tal, your game's on Sunday, yes, with Claire. Hello, Odysseys. Awesome to see you. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to have to start mixing the colours because I want some different browns. I'm actually going to add a little bit of Dragon White to my palette. Now, there's two games I really want to get back into in the future. That is yours, Tal, and I also want to join Naif's game that Claire plays in. Until my issues with time are all sorted out, I have to wait, but definitely want to jump back into your game, Tal. And Naif, I want to try Naif's game. Naif's got a very special little RPG game going, and I often hear Scorpula screaming from the living room. So you know when a D&D game is good fun, when you hear your partner screaming. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit of the wood stain brown to the tissue. Tiny bit of white. We're just going to lighten it up a little bit. And this is just to do the other parts of the fur, because we're just trying to get a different variation on the colours on the brown. Of course, we shall be adding an ink wash to all this area, so that does help a lot. Hopefully you can all see what I'm getting up to tonight. Hopefully the focus is okay. I haven't got the best cameras in the world, but they do the job. They do the job okay. Okay, let's look. White. Let me see now. It's there. Here. Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that. And the belt. And then we can start adding a little bit of green for those scales. I definitely think that's some kind of reptilian armor he's got on the back there, on the leg. And so that'll look nice in a green. You take care, Fish. Thank you so much for popping on. I know you're a busy man. Okay, this is the Highland Moss. I think it's an absolutely beautiful green by MSP. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So what we're going to do is, again, using the number 2 brush, we are just going to try this paint over here and just add it to that green here. What it is the green is not too bright, But it's really, really nice. If you paint it over white, of course, it's the white is pushing through, which really looks nice. So all the little scaly bits look like they're popping out. So one thing with my painting, like I say, I don't like all the super duper bright colours. I'll try to back away from all the ultra colours. I know when you see many people painting Games Workshop miniatures, for example, or painting harlequins or things like that, all these super bright colours everywhere. I like to keep the miniatures looking more authentically, like they could actually exist, and all dirty and muddy. You know, you could almost imagine them living in a hill. This giant up in the hills somewhere. You know, he's ripped up all the fur, and you know, you could always imagine he's living up there somewhere. Okay, this is coming on nice. Okay, is there any more green? Nah. Now, green is my favourite colour. Now, if when I do competitions, you take a note. If I ask what my favourite colour is, it is green. Now with the hair, we are going to use this brown for the hair as well, because it's very light, and we shall be adding a black ink wash over the hair, which will completely change the colour anyway, but it'll be perfect for what we need for this guy's mullet. I'm going to call it a mullet. He's got a mullet. Such an 80s hill giant. Okay, we got 5 minutes left of the show. We zoomed through it today. I'll carry on with what I'm doing for the next 5 minutes. I want to thank everybody who tuned in for the show. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support. I know I'm only streaming once a week now, but it's all I can do for the time being. Maybe in the future I'll do more, but I really cannot see anything changing for a long time. The way things are, so I think we shall be stuck with the one stream a week from for the future. You're most welcome, Waffle Witch. It's lovely to see you. I'm so happy you was able to get a little bit of time to watch today. And it's the same with Michelle as well. Many of you are from the USA, Canada, and I know this is the time when most of you are working or still in work. In the UK, of course, it's evening. But I do thank you all so much for popping in to watch the show. It means a lot to me. All the Scottish haggises are running around going, whee! You're most welcome, Painted Git. It's awesome to see you on the show as well. And town. It's either this or doing the washing up. Honest to God. Honestly, he pushes me. He pushes me, honestly. He really does. I mean, we're just blocking in the colours really today. We've done a little bit of highlighting, but it's really looking absolutely fantastic. Once you've added the ink wash and we do the highlights, it will look absolutely fab. What I'll probably do with this miniature is we'll probably carry on with it on the following show. I do want to get back to my pirates, and I know a lot of people want to see me painting on my pirates, and we will get around to doing the pirates as well. As now, the issue here is I am only streaming for an hour, and it is only once a week. I will be trying to make some YouTube videos, which you can watch as well. Like I do the WizKids, I do a WizKids video every Wednesday. It's more of a beginner's show for the WizKids video, of course. But I try to go up to an intermediate level in painting. For tabletop quality painting, but this is an absolutely beautiful miniature, very nice. Okay, so what we'll do now, let's see, check on the time. Alright, we've got another 4 minutes left to go, so I shall actually we'll start painting in the silver. We'll add a little bit of silver. Now, like I say, for the silver, I'm using this Vallejo air paint. You'll be surprised if you. So a lot of people think, "Oh no, it's too thin. You can't use air paint." You watch now when I put it onto this miniature. You watch how beautiful it goes on. Hello, Renegade Shank. Thank you for subscribing. I'll see you in Conan in about 10 minutes. Okay, so this is the Vallejo air paint. Now, going over white, you'd think it'd be absolutely really thin, but look at this, it covers it absolutely beautifully, and it's just the right consistency to make a very nice impression on the silver. So if you have never tried using Vallejo air paints brush on, of course they're fantastic as an airbrush paint, but if you've never used them to actually brush on like I'm doing here, you'll be quite surprised how effective they are. This is the silver, of course, and it works very nice. Same with the gold. I highly recommend the gold. Just a little tip for you guys, it does work very nice. It does look very nice too. I find it can be very difficult to get a very good metallic paint. So I'm always looking for a very good silver, a very good gold. Now with the gold, I always prefer to use bronze instead of gold. I will use bronze paint as gold paint because it looks more rustic, and then it becomes it looks better on your miniature than actually using shiny gold. Shiny gold looks too shiny. I want my miniatures to look like a rustic gold, so bronze actually does the key. Cover your miniature with the gold, and a bit of brown ink wash over the top, and you're good to go. There we are. See, with a club with nice shiny bits of metal. Let's see, anything else with metal? No, nothing. He's a cheap-ass hill giant. He hasn't got no gold or goodies. Yes, they're the only paint. They are the only paint I use for my airbrush. I've actually gone to buying the actual big 200ml bottles now. But yeah, 100% recommend them. Now, as the actual Vallejo acrylic paint, like I say, I do find I have to add quite a bit of water to the Vallejo paints to thin them down. And of course, if you are painting with yellows, and it's already a thick paint, what you'll find, especially with the Vallejo yellows, is if you start adding water to them, it thins them down. And anybody who knows anything about the miniature painting, yellows are a nightmare. So you don't want to water them down. What happens is you end up painting about 6 or 7 coats of yellow, and it's like, oh my god. So yeah, I definitely prefer the MSP paints for the actual acrylics straight from the bottle. Vallejo's are #1 definitely for the air paints. Army Painter, of course. Army Painter are very, very good paints. I love Army Painter. Again, sometimes I do have to water the paints down because they can get quite thick. And of course you've got the Games Workshop paints, which I never use apart from their oils. I do love the oils, but if Games Workshop put their paints into dropper bottles, I don't know if they have now. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up to date with Games Workshop paints, but dropper bottles are definitely the way to go for your painting. They make things so much easier. You can just put the paint on the palette. You haven't got your lids open. It's just a great way to paint, having your dropper bottles. So there we are. That's me for today. Thank you everybody for the cheers, the shout outs and watching. This was my first show back in 14 days. I will be back next Thursday. We shall go back to the pirates, because I do want to show you my pirate island and how I'm getting on with the pirate island. I think you're all going to love it. So until next week, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Love to every single one of you, and everybody take care out.